All right, we're about to pull back the curtain on a financial company that is so massive, so fundamental to the entire global economy that I'm willing to bet you've never even heard its name. And you know what? That's kind of the point.
To get a sense of the scale here, just ask yourself this. Who do you think the world trusts to just hold over $14 trillion of assets? I'm not talking about investing it or growing it. Their one job is to make sure it doesn't, vanish.
$14 trillion, $100 billion. I mean, just let that number sink in. It's an amount so huge it's almost impossible to picture, and it's bigger than the entire annual economic output of almost every single country on Earth.
So who is it? The company behind that mind-boggling number is State Street, and they are the perfect example of an invisible giant, a corporation that sits at the absolute center of global finance, but somehow completely flies under the public's radar.
So, the big question is, how does a company get this huge and still stay so hidden? Well, to figure that out, we've got to go back, way back, because this isn't some hot new fintech startup. Believe it or not, this is America's second oldest bank.
The story kicks off way back in 1792 with a company called Union Bank. For a long time, it was just your standard traditional bank. But then a few key pivots changed absolutely everything. In 1978, it launched its asset management arm. That's super important. We'll come back to it. Then in 2007, it bought out a competitor, and boom, it became the second largest custodian in the world. And then there's 1998, the year this old bank unexpectedly changed the future of the entire tech industry. Wild, right?
So all that history created a company with two really distinct, almost separate personalities. And if you want to understand State Street, you have to get the difference between them. So let's break down what a custodian and an asset manager really do.
Okay, think of it this way. On one side, you have the custodian. That's the main State Street Corporation. Their job is to be a giant, ultra-secure digital vault. They don't decide where the money goes. They just hold trillions of dollars in assets and protect them for other institutions. Then, on the other side, you have the asset manager, State Street Global Advisors, or SSGA. These are the investors. Their job is to actively manage funds to try and make them grow. So you've got a guardian and a grower, two totally different roles.
But really, at its core, State Street's main business, the one handling that insane $14 trillion figure, is being a custodian bank. They are the trusted, neutral third party that holds the actual stocks, bonds, and cash for the world's largest funds. They just make sure everything is safe, secure, and properly accounted for.
And who are their clients? Well, it's not you and me directly. Forget our personal retirement accounts. They deal with the big fish, the institutions that manage our money, the mutual funds we invest in, the pension funds for public servants like teachers and firefighters, major corporations, unions, and even huge charities.
Okay, so that brings us to today. Having a long history is one thing, but just how significant is State Street on the world stage right now?
Well, for starters, it's a Fortune 500 company. In 2021, it clocked in at number 252 on the list of America's largest corporations. So yeah, they're in the big leagues.
And their operational footprint is truly global. We're talking about a team of nearly 22,000 people spread all across 25 countries, all working to keep the complicated machinery of global finance running.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. This is an official list of what are called globally systemically important banks. You know what that means? It's a fancy label regulators give to banks so critical that their failure could spark a worldwide financial crisis. And there's State Street, right in the same group as household names like Morgan Stanley and Santander.
But here's the really wild part. State Street's influence goes way beyond just banking. In a strange twist of fate, this centuries-old financial firm actually played a key role in defining the rules for the modern digital economy. It all came from a court case back in 1998. Before this, the general thinking was that you couldn't patent an abstract idea or a mathematical formula. But the court ruled that if a software process produced, and I'm quoting here, a useful, concrete, and tangible result, then it could be patented.
That ruling, which is now known in the legal world simply as the State Street case, basically opened the floodgates. For the first time, it was legally confirmed that a pure computer algorithm could be patented. This decision sent shockwaves through the emerging tech world and fundamentally shaped the business models of the entire software industry.
And honestly, that story brilliantly illustrates what State Street truly is. If the global economy is a massive, complex skyscraper, then State Street is the foundational plumbing. You never see it, you probably don't even think about it, but absolutely nothing works without it.
The global financial system absolutely needs this kind of bedrock to function. But that fact leaves us with a critical question to think about. What are the implications for all of us when so much of that invisible, essential foundation is controlled by just a handful of these quiet giants?